moderating the next session, and I don't want to preempt the discussion of criteria, but we are getting close to that. I agree that the problems of humanity cannot be solved within the boundaries of any traditional discipline. So instead of getting hung up on whether it's going to be the social or physical or medical or biological sciences, I think we should focus more on the impacts. And we will discuss what the impacts are and in what areas of humanity in the next session. So that way we finesse the issue of what particular discipline it falls into. And it also encourages the transdisciplinary element, which was also mentioned earlier. The second point I want to make very quickly is that I think there has been perhaps an overemphasis on the Nobel Prize, because I don't think we should get hung up on it. I think if we are looking at the spectrum of idea which has potential all the way to something that has been implemented and proven, there is a spectrum. If we award the Tesla Prize to something early in the cycle, it will have more impact because the person is relatively unrecognized and the money will help them to bring their idea to fruition. If we give something at the end, towards the end of the cycle, it will have less impact because that person, he or she, will already have done a research benefits and recognition. But balance that, there is the risk. For example, the MacArthur Prize, which I've advised, I mean, they give money early on, a large sum. They don't expect anything because you can take the money and go and sit under a coconut tree for 2 years. So, but there is a risk. If you give it early on, that nothing may come of it. Whereas for something that is relatively well recognized, you give the money, although it has less impact, you're pretty sure that the Tesla Prize is going to be recognized as something associated with something good. So you have to look at that risk versus return kind of thing where you come in the spectrum. The third point is something that has been already said and I'm reiterating. I think we should study the examples of some of the other prizes. I mean, particularly not to reinvent the wheel in terms of setting up new procedures, but also not to duplicate. I think that's very important to have this as a unique, something very unique. And the last point I want to make is this transcending boundaries, and I lecture on this very avidly. Is important, particularly for young people. We've certainly got to transcend the boundaries of discipline, yes. But also, I'll mention it in the next session, values, that we are stuck with a set of very unsustainable values and we have to transcend those and particularly bring it up among the young. We have to transcend barriers of space. We're not talking about our own neighborhood or our family, but eventually about the whole planet. We have to transcend the barriers of time, not tomorrow or 1 year, but maybe 100 years next. I work for the IPCC and we think long term. And we have to transcend the barriers of stakeholder thinking, that it is not just one group of people, but all of the stakeholders, how we can bring this prize to rally a broad range of support. Thank you, Chair.
At the risk of sounding flippant, sir, I think it's easy to say we shouldn't focus too much on the Nobel. Once you got one, you see it's quite trivial. But for those who haven't got it yet, it's quite enough before they get anything even resembling it remotely. Our next speaker is Dr. Schopper.
Many ideas have been mentioned here, Being an experimental physicist, I try to take a pragmatic approach. So what can we do? To my mind, the most important point is what is really the objective of the prize. There are prizes which can be given just to give a reward to an individual person, be young or be old. Or the idea of the prize could be to have a certain impact on society, in particular the young people. Now, to my mind, one of the major criteria in our discussion should be, let's not try to compete with existing prizes. Many people said, let's forget the Nobel Prize. There are many Nobel Prize reports, many things, and many discussions in the Nobel Committee. I can tell you the difficulties. Just perhaps you do not know why there is no Nobel Prize in mathematics. The reason is that Nobel established the prize. There was a young mathematician who took away the Nobel Prize. And he found out that there was a chemistry prize. So that's the reason why the Nobel Prize is invented. I tell you that because I come back to that point, the sponsor of the prize, the influence of the sponsor of the prize is also very difficult. So I come back to that. Look, so one criteria I think should be, let's not compete with existing prizes. Even with young people, there are many prizes. In Germany, we have the so-called Leibniz Prize, which is given every year to 12 people. Each of them gets 3 million euros. That's going from physics to philosophy. Let's not try to compete with young people. Let's not try to compete with geniuses. I think many things have been said about how to recognize those or unknown geniuses. Let's forget geniuses. I think our main criteria should be what should be the impact of the prize. Now, which means the prize has to get some publicity. What's determines the publicity of the prize? I think it will be very important who is the first winner of the prize. Because the first Nobel Prize in physics was given to Mr. Wendell, who invented the X-rays. I think the first winner of the prize will be very important. Second, let's not forget it, I come back to it, will be very important who is the sponsor of the prize. That will be a main criteria for public. And I do not mean essentially the person, it could be organization. I think the prize in the end would have to find an organization who sponsors it. There are many possibilities, that I have some invitation already. One has to be very careful to find an organization who would sponsor it, who would give it the necessary independence and credibility. Another point is, of course, the money, but I think that we should forget for money, the money, the price will only be recognized because of the money. I think would be wrong. So I was thinking, where is the niche? They agree that we should not compete with existing prices. Where is the niche that where is still some opening? And one of the things I found was, and the name of Tesla was suggesting is something connected with engineering. Maybe we are too late because you said maybe so maybe we are too late. That would have been one possibility. The other only niche I could identify is interdisciplinary. You mentioned that interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary work. So, to summarize, I do not have a pattern solution what should be done, but the criteria I think what we should use in discussion is let's not compete with other prices, let's find the niche. It will be very important to have who will be the first candidate, leaders or not leaders. I think the opinion of the sponsor, of the sponsoring organization will be very important. And well, finally, the only thing I could think about something is to do with engineering. If it's not engineering, I think the name of the prize should be changed because certainly people will forget what Tesla, there's a very complicated explanation what Tesla stands for. I think that will be forgotten. Everybody in the world will use it. Tesla will associate it somehow to engineering, science, something like that. So if it's not that, the name of the prize should be changed. Thank you.
Thank you. And idea coming back, the idea of the particular niche that it's important to find, and this doesn't mean getting hung up on the other prizes, but one does have to be aware of what it is that they do, and either do it better or do it differently to make it worthwhile. I think this is an idea that has been repeated by many speakers. The next one is Mr. Gilbert Fire.
Thank you. Ivo Slows was kind enough to recall the guiding principles of the Global Roundtable, building tomorrow together. I would like to ask you, turn the folder to the website, where is the wisdom we have lost in knowledge? Where is the knowledge we have lost in information? It is quite solid, very important. Well, briefly, point one. It should not be a prize purely for scientific achievement. Number two, it must have all the potential societal aspect what Govardhan Professor Mehta indicated. Number three, it should be open in a way that the future Maya Theresia, the future Gandhi, or whoever could receive the prize. Basically, that is what I would like to ask for, and I am sincerely asking you. We have to forget every existing prizes. We are not there to compete. Let's do something more visionary, more forward-looking, more broad, and more in the interest of the human society. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure how much time we have left. Should we be 2 minutes? So we have time for Mr. Mehrotra.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am not an academician. I am an industrialist. So I don't know what I am doing here. But let me do my 2 bits. My first issue is what I have heard others is to what is the aim of the prize. Still it is not very clear to me. The second thing, we should have only one prize to make a difference, not number of prizes. My third issue is in course of time it will become better than the Nobel Prize. And the fourth is it should be given to living beings. And the fifth point is it should be simple. It should be simple criteria for selection. And sixth should be inspiring to the younger generation. And finally, should have good pot of money so that, and inflation adjusted, so that it has attraction. Linking money to something else is not the vitamin for the younger generation to look at that. So it should be a good pot, free to them. And I fully support Mr. Mehta's view. It should be awarded who has made the difference to the humanity. Thank you very much.
Do we have anybody else that we might squeeze in before the end of the session?
Well, actually, Mr. Green was the next on the list.
Mr. Pino.
Thank you. I suppose that genius is a quality of an individual, but accomplishment is often the result of a team or collaborative effort. And I agree with many of the speakers who suggested that focusing on transdisciplinary study is essential. I agree with that. And maybe if there's at least one category which focuses on rewarding a collaborative effort rather than one individual, then that would accord very closely with that.
I think we'll give one chance.
No, I'm sorry.
No? Oh, I see. Ah.
Mr. Jurovich is number 5 on that list.
Sorry,
Of all the
sorry.
respects.
Sorry, I take back my privilege as chair. And,
You can do it.
and bow.
You can deal with
How serious we are about our timetable is a question. If we are serious about our timetable, then we should be breaking off this section. Thank you very much to all the contributions. I think we've given a fair chance to most people around this table, and after all, do not despair. The day is not over yet. It is only starting, so that there will be, I think, every opportunity to couch your proposals and your ideas under whatever heading the next sessions are, you can squeak in your idea, and I'm sure it will be welcome. Thank you very much for your participation.
We will make a flying continuation in order to catch some of the lost time. I'm just going to go over there and I'm going to ask Her Excellency Mrs. Pearson to come and take my place here instead. I'm terribly sorry, but you do have a distinguished one beside you. I have the list here, so we could just continue the motion. I have your names, so don't worry.